Hi, students. Hello, everyone. So, welcome in this discussion. So, for today's discussion, we're going to talk about something that happens continuously in our body, even while we're just sitting, or even we're asleep, or even we are not conscious that it is happening. So, this is a process of cell division. Now, when we hear the word division, we might think about it in mathematics. We often hear division mathematics. And the concept of division in mathematics and in terms of biology is quite different. In the process of mathematics, for example, 4 divided by 2, you have only 2. 2 divided by 2, you have 1. Or 6 divided by 3, you will have 2. So the value is continuously decreasing. But in biology, when we say division, this means multiplication. So therefore, if you have two cells, if that two cells divide, you will have 4 cells. So this is a process by which one cell produces new cells. So this is very or extremely important because our body is constantly losing and replacing cells. For example, our skin. Every day, our skin cells they die and they shed. So where does the replacement cells came from? They came from cell division. The same principles apply to growth, to tissue repairs, and the development of an organism. But before we can understand how cells divide, we need to answer a more basic question. What exactly is being copied and distributed when a cell divides? So the answer is our genetic material, particularly DNA. So before we dwell into the cell division, the process of cell division, let's build our understanding step by step. So let's start with the DNA and the RNA before we eventually proceed with the cell cycle and the cell division. Now let's start with nucleic acid. Nucleic acids, these are large biomolecules that are responsible for storing and transmitting genetic information. There are two major nucleic acids, such as the DNA and the RNA. You have probably heard of these terms many times already. So the DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic, while RNA naman stands for ribonucleic acid. So both are made up of similar building blocks called the nucleotides. Think of a nucleotides just letters of biological language. So if we want to write a sentence, for example, we arrange the letters in particular order. Similarly, cells also arrange nucleotides in specific sequences to store biological information. So DNA primarily stores information and RNA naman helps in using and transferring that information, particularly especially in protein synthesis. And you need to remember that proteins are extremely important because they perform many of the functions necessary for life. So we can think of DNA as the information storage system, while RNA naman, this helps the cell to use that information. Now, let's start with the DNA. So, what are DNA? Before we proceed with identifying kung ano nga ba talaga si DNA, let's first answer this question. What makes you, you? Ano ang meron ka para masabing ikaw yan? Let's think, since we are not naman inside of the classroom, let's think of our classmates. So do you notice is that everyone inside the classroom is different. I am different, you are different, we are different from each other. Maybe one of your classmates has a curly hair while the other one has a straight hair. Maybe naman someone have dimples and someone may be taller, someone may have different eye color, especially blue or green, and some naman have a light skin tone, some have a dark skin tone. So where do these characteristics actually came from? A major factor for this is the genetic information that was inherited from your parents. We have different parents, right? So therefore, we have different genetic information that was passed on us. So your parents pass the genetic information to you. So this information is stored in the what we call DNA. So when we say DNA contains genetic information. So we're talking about information that contributes to the characteristics and biological functions of an organism, especially you. So what is exactly DNA? So DNA, this is a molecule that stores a genetic hereditary information. So let's just think of DNA as an enormous instructional manual. Imagine that you buy a very complicated machine. Inside that box is a manual telling you how to assemble it, operate it, and also to maintain it. So it contains instructions that cells use to build proteins and regulate cellular activities. But remember, DNA isn't literally a book. This is a molecule whose information is encoded in the sequence of nucleotides. So the copies of the DNA are again transferred from one generation of cells to the next generation. So it's passing from your parents to you, okay, to the offspring, ikaw, kayo na mismo. So we have a very important relationship in terms of the DNA. So DNA is a genetic material, while chromosomes are structures made largely from DNA, which are associated with the protein. So let's think, or we should not think of DNA and chromosomes as two completely separate things. Instead, let's imagine a very long piece of thread. The thread represents the DNA, and that thread needs to be organized and packaged so that it can fit inside the nucleus. So proteins help package the DNA. So that organized structure is what we call a chromosome. So why does DNA is very important? Because DNA, again, this allows to store information and provide instructions for cellular activities. Now let's examine the structure of a DNA. So DNA again is a long molecule made up of repeating units called the nucleotides. Nucleotides, this consists or contains three major components. We have a phosphate group, a deoxyribose sugar, and a nitrogenous base. Nitrogenous bases, dito na papasok po yung alam ninyo na pairing. Adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine. So whenever you see the word nucleotide, you remember sugar plus phosphate plus nitrogenous bases. These nucleotides join together to form a very, very long DNA molecule. Think about the beads on a string. Each bead can represent one nucleotide. So many nucleotides connected together creates a long chain. The two chains then associate to form the familiar DNA structure, being or having a double helix, like this one. So this is a twisted ladder shape called a double helix. The two sides of the ladder are the DNA backbone. The rungs contain paired nitrogenous bases. This structure is extremely useful because it allows DNA to store information while also allowing the molecule to be copied. Now let's have nitrogenous bases. So there are four nitrogenous bases in the DNA. Let's have the nitrogenous bases of the DNA. So, adenine, thymine, cytosine, and the guanine. Ang pairing niya po is adenine always pairs with thymine, cytosine always pair with guanine. Para hindi niyo makalimutan, remember, apple is for tree, car is for garage. Again, apple is for tree, car is for garage. For example of this, so we have a base sequence which is TACGA, TTGA. Therefore, the complementary strand of this one will be A, T, G, C, T, A, C, T. Okay? Now, don't worry that we're going to discuss naman this one deeper in our genetics discussion. Now let's have the RNA. So if DNA is a deoxyribose and usually that's double helix, RNA naman stands for again ribonucleic acid. So this is involved in the conversion of genetic information from DNA into proteins. So this plays a major role in protein synthesis. Again, DNA is double helix or double-stranded, while RNA or ribonucleic acid are usually single-stranded. And if the bases for DNA are adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine, in RNA po, mapapalitan po si thymine. Mawawala si thymine, ang papalit po ay si uracil. So therefore, the new pairing na po will be adenine is for uracil, cytosine is still for guanine. Again, ang napapalitan lang po ay si thymine. Sinang papalit? Who replaces thymine? That will be uracil. There are actually three different types of RNA, and again, this plays a very important role in protein synthesis. We will discuss this deeper in the genetics lesson. So let's just have the mRNA or messenger RNA, rRNA or the ribosomal RNA, and last one, the tRNA or the transfer RNA. So this again nucleotide is composed of monosaccharide to which a nitrogenous organic base and a phosphate group are attached. For the monosaccharide of DNA is deoxyribose and ribose naman for the RNA. Let's continue. Okay, so what connects the nucleotides with each other? It's actually because of the phosphodiester band. So the backbone of the DNA is formed by alternating sugar and phosphate held together by strong phosphodiester. Kaya hindi agad-agad sila nahihiwalay. But when it comes naman to the pairing, ano ang band na present? That will be hydrogen bonds. Since hydrogen bonds are way weaker, so therefore, madaling matanggal, especially kapag may enzyme tayong helicase. So in the nitrogenous bases, we actually have the name for this bases. You need to remember that these are double ring molecules. Therefore, we call them as purines. Again, we call them as purines. And the single ones naman po are called pyrimidines. Again, pyrimidines. Purines are double ring molecules, while pyrimidines naman po are single ring molecules. Okay, so let's move to an interesting question. What if your hair never grew back after a haircut? That's a very simple way of introducing an important biological concept because our bodies constantly need new cells. So let's think about again our skin cells or the skin. The skin is exposed to friction, sunlight, to the different microorganisms and especially the physical damage. Now, old cells needs to be replaced. Think about the wound. When you cut yourself, the damaged tissue needs to repair itself. Where do these cells, new cells, come from? Again, cell division. Cell division is important for the growth, the repair, the replacement of all their damaged cells, and in some organisms for reproduction. So cell division isn't something that happens only when we are injured. It is an ongoing biological process. So let's have our topic for today will be about cell division. Now, cell division is actually under the what we call the cell cycle. What do you mean by cell cycle? Cell cycle is the sequence of events that a eukaryotic cell goes through as it grows, it replicates its DNA, and eventually divide. There are two main portions or parts in cell cycle. We have the interphase and the M phase, or the what we call the cell division phase. So the interphase is associated with growth and DNA replication, while M phase naman is associated again with cell division. Let's clarify something important. Some students think kasi that interphase is simply the time when the cell is resting. Okay, so walang ginagawa. But actually, that is not correct. Interphase is actually a very active period. The cell grows, it performs its normal functions, it produces proteins and organelles, and most importantly, for division, it duplicates its DNA. And in this cell cycle or in the interphase, there are actually three major stages in interphase: the G1 or the GAP1, the S phase, and the G2 or the GAP2. So let's remember the sequence again: G1, S, G2. Then after ng interphase, proceed tayo with M phase or the cell division. So what happens during G1? So G1, G, growth phase. Okay? G1 or GAP1, a lot happens here. The cell grows in size, it produces proteins, it produces organelles, and it carries out its normal cellular function. The cell is essentially asking, sabi niya, do I have enough resources to continue toward division? This is important because cell division requires a lot of energy and as well as materials. So the cell cannot simply divide whenever it wants. It needs to make sure that conditions are favorable and conditions are set before proceeding in division. Again, G1, growth phase. Next one naman is the S. S is for synthesis. Again, S stands for synthesis. So this is where the DNA replication occurs. Bakit kailangan mag-duplicate ng DNA? Why? Because when the cell divides, each daughter cell needs a complete set of genetic information. Imagine one student has one complete set of notes. If the student needs to give the notes to two of his or her classmates, simply tearing the notes in half wouldn't work. Each classmate needs a complete copy of the notes. So the cell makes a copy of its DNA before division. Aside from DNA replication, it also verifies DNA replication is complete and checks for any errors in the newly synthesized DNA. Why? Kasi if nagkaroon ng error in the duplication or replication of the DNA, of course, magkakaroon ng error when it comes to cell division. And that eventually results in the disorders that we know, especially in meiosis. So that is S phase, and let's proceed with G2 or the GAP2. So in GAP2, this is where the quality control happens. After the DNA replication, here comes now the G2. So the cell continues to grow and produces components needed for cell division. It also checks the newly replicated DNA and looks for the damage or the errors. Let's just think of G2 as the final inspection. Imagine an airplane preparing for takeoff. The engineers don't simply fuel and immediately send it into the air. They first check the engine, the system, and making sure that everything is safe. G2 performs a very similar quality control function. The cell continuously asks itself, is my DNA properly replicated? Is there any damage that needs to be repaired? Do I have the materials necessary for division? Only after passing these checkpoints or the quality control, then the cells proceed toward the M phase or the mitotic phase. That will be, again, cell division. So after interphase, let's proceed with the M phase. M phase, this is the stage where again cell division takes place. And M phase involves two major processes. First one is mitosis and the second one is cytokinesis. So mitosis is the division of the nucleus. Cytokinesis is the division of the cytoplasm. So let's separate these two concepts. Mitosis, nucleus divide, cytokinesis, cytoplasm divides. At the end, we have two daughter cells. So let's dig deeper into mitosis. Okay, cell division. There are actually two types of cell division. We have the mitosis and we have the meiosis. Now let's proceed first with the mitosis. So mitosis happens when the cell's nucleus divides, ensuring that each new cell receives an identical set of chromosomes. Why is this important? This is important for three major processes. First one is for the growth, kung bakit ka lumalaki, kung bakit ka tumatangkad. And the third one is for repair. And you need to take note that in mitosis po, it only produces two identical daughter cells. Again, dalawa lang. And it only happens in somatic cell. Somatic meaning body cell. So therefore, hindi po dito kasama yung mga gametes or the egg cell and the sperm cell. Again, mitosis only happens in body cells. In mitosis or in cell division, there are usually four stages. In mitosis, we have four stages, but in meiosis kasi, since it happens twice, therefore, nauulit lang itong apat na to. The four major stages in mitosis or in cell division are prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. PMAT. Prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. Again, you need to remember PMAT. Let's start with the first stage of mitosis, which is prophase. So let's think of prophase as setting the stage. Several important things happen during prophase. Chromosomes condense and become visible. So, before ka magkaroon ng chromosome, magiging chromatin muna yan. Saan makikita si chromatin? Chromatin can be found inside of a nucleus. So, once the chromatin condenses, it forms chromosomes. Okay, again, it forms chromosomes. After it become a tightly packed visible chromosome, the nuclear envelope begins to break down and spindle fibers begin to form. So the main role again of spindle fibers is to what? To eventually help move the chromosomes. So let's think of spindle fibers as again the rope that will position or will help position and pull the chromosomes during cell division. After prophase, let's have the metaphase. Now, since prophase, meaning you are setting the stage for the start of the division, M naman po in metaphase stands for the middle. Gitna, nasa gitna. Why? Because metaphase is for the lineup of the chromosomes. During metaphase, chromosomes line up in the middle or in the equatorial plane of the cell. The spindle fibers attach the chromosomes near the centromere. Why does the cell line up these chromosomes? Because the cell needs to make sure that sister chromatids can be separated evenly. Tama, exactly. Walang susobra, walang kukulang. Again, the key stage for metaphase is or are the chromosomes align at the cell's equatorial plane, the spindle fibers attached to centromeres, and 23 sister chromatids are in the middle. When we say chromatids, these are already the duplicated or replicated chromosome. When we say chromatin again, chromatin are the inside of the nucleus, yung hindi pa siya condensed, hindi pa siya tightly packed together. Once it become tightly packed together, tawag na natin doon ay chromosome. It's visible chromosomes. Now, after it undergo again replication or duplication earlier in synthesis stage, diba synthesis is for cell division, it actually duplicates and forms 23 sister chromatids. So, ilan pa rin ang chromosome dito? 46. Again, 46. 23 sister chromatids are in the middle of this equatorial plane or in the stage of metaphase. Next, after this chromosome lines up perfectly in the middle, we have the third stage, which is about the anaphase. Ana, if M or metaphase stands for middle, A naman po in anaphase stands for away. So therefore, separation. So the spindle fibers pull the sister chromatids apart toward the opposite poles of the cell. This is a very important moment. Before this stage, we call them sister chromatids. Once they separate, each chromatid is considered an individual chromosome. Again, an individual chromosome. So if a duplicated chromosome looks or look like an X, the two hubs are pulled apart. One goes to one side, the other goes to the opposite side. This ensures that each future daughter cell receives the appropriate genetic information. So the main two events are sister chromatids are pulled apart to opposite poles by spindle fibers, and each chromatid is now considered an individual chromosome. So we have the P prophase, M metaphase middle, A anaphase or away. The fourth one po will be telophase. Telophase, the T in telophase actually refers to two nucleus. Again, two nucleus. T, T meaning two nucleus. So what happens here after the chromosomes have reached the opposite poles? The chromosomes begin to condense back into a chromatin. Think of telophase as again reconstruction. New nuclear envelopes form around the two sets of chromosomes. So essentially, the cell is rebuilding two nuclei. So at the beginning of the mitosis, we had one nucleus. Now we are creating two nuclei. So the genetic material has been successfully separated. Okay, so the chromosomes they condense in the chromatin, the nuclear envelopes reform around the two nuclei. So again, that is mitosis. Mama, hindi pa nahahati. Paano yun? Sino maghahati dyan? That's the next stage, which will be cytokinesis. Again, M phase has two stages or parts, two parts of mitosis or M phase or mitosis and cytokinesis. If in mitosis, the nucleus divides, in cytokinesis naman, this is where the cytoplasm divides. In animal cell, the cell membrane pinches inward until the cell separates into two daughter cells. So let's think about squeezing a soft ball from the middle. Eventually, it separates into two portions. The result is two daughter cells. Each daughter cell receives a nucleus and the necessary cellular components. Again, mitosis, nucleus lang, cytokinesis, cytoplasmic division, the cytoplasm. Do not use mitosis and cytokinesis interchangeably since they are different from each other. So let's have a recap again. The cell begins with interphase. During that one, papasok siya ng three stages sa G1, S, and G2. After the interphase comes now the M phase or the cell division phase. Mitosis, it divides the nucleus. At ang stages in mitosis, we have the four P-mat. Prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase. P, prepare. M, middle. A, away. T, two nuclei. And then comes the cytokinesis, which divides the cytoplasm. And what do we get after cytokinesis? Two daughter cells. Now, before we end this part, I want you to think about something. If mitosis produces two genetically similar daughter cells, how do organisms that reproduce sexually produce this genetically different offspring? This is where our next topic comes in, the meiosis. And this is where things become even more interesting because meiosis doesn't simply make two identical cells. It produces four haploid cells and introduces genetic variation. Again, kapag mitosis, somatic body cells, meiosis, sex cells. Everyone, in cell division, there are actually two, the mitosis and the meiosis. What are the differences between these two? When we say mitosis, this happens because of growth and repair. For meiosis naman, this this is for the production of the sperm cell. So therefore, mitosis happens only in somatic cells or body cells, and meiosis naman happens only in the sex cells or the gametes, the sperm cell and the egg cell. So meiosis is a type of cell division where a single cell divides twice, again, dalawang beses. Mitosis happens only once, but meiosis happens twice. Therefore, since this happens twice, this produces four daughter cells, which having half the amount of the genetic material or the sex cells. What is the importance of meiosis? This makes sure that all organisms produced via sexual reproduction contains the correct number of chromosomes, half from each parent. So this produces four daughter cells and only happens again in sex cells or in gametes. When we say haploid, meaning that each daughter cell have one set of chromosomes. For example, if that is diploid, you have 46 chromosome. Now, since haploid yan, hap, kalahati, meaning 23. Again, 23 lang ang kanyang chromosome. Why are gametes haploid? What's the meaning of this and why is this important? Because when the sperm and egg combine during fertilization, their chromosome sets come together. One haploid sperm plus one haploid egg produces a diploid zygote. So meiosis is essential for maintaining the chromosome number across a generation. For example, humans have 46 chromosomes. Hindi pwede nang ibibigay sa'yo ng nanay mo is na 46. Kasi kapag nag 46 yan, tapos 46 pa manggagaling sa tatay mo, magkakaroon ka na ng 46 plus 46 is 92 chromosome. So, sobra-sobra na. Hindi ka na magiging normal. Okay? You will eventually have or evolve some kind of disorder having that 92 chromosome. So therefore, kailangan na ang mga gametes ay maging haploid. Kalahati lang. Kasi si sperm cell naman at saka si egg cell ay nagko-combine. So therefore, pinag-a-add yung chromosomes ng dalawa. 23 plus 23 equals 46. So if human, again, body cell has 46 chromosomes, how many chromosomes should a normal human gamete have? Of course, 23. So let's say na kung meron kang 92 chromosomes, kung meron lang naman. 92 chromosomes, ilan ang iyong gamete? 46. Kapag meron ka ng 20 body cell, ilan ang sex cell? 10. Kung meron kang 30 body cell, ilan ng sex cell? 15. Lagi siyang So let's have the different stages of meiosis. Here's something that makes meiosis different from mitosis. Mitosis involves one nuclear division. Meiosis involves two consecutive division, and they are called meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. Think of it as two rounds. During meiosis 1, homologous chromosomes are separated, and during meiosis 2 naman, sister chromatids are separated. This distinction extremely important because meiosis 1 separates homologous chromosomes, meiosis 2 separates sister chromatids, just like in mitosis. Now let's start the meiosis 1. So the stages are similar in name to mitosis. Prophase 1, metaphase 1, anaphase 1, and telophase 1. But do not assume that they're exactly the same. Something very important happens during prophase 1 that does not normally happen in ordinary mitotic prophase. What is it? It's the crossing over. Ano bang crossing over? Let's have first this one. In prophase 1 is one of the most important stages of meiosis. During this stage, homologous chromosomes pair up. Remember the word homologous. Homologous chromosomes are chromosomes pairs that carry the genes for the same types of traits. One homologous chromosome came from the mother and the other came from the father. They are similar in structure and contain corresponding genes, although the versions of those genes can differ. During prophase 1, these homologous chromosomes pair together. This pairing allows something very important to happen, the crossing over. Crossing over is the exchange of corresponding segments of DNA between homologous chromosomes. Imagine two classmates exchanging sections of their notes. After the exchange, each student still has a complete set of notes, but some information has been rearranged. The same basic idea happens in prophase 1. Homologous chromosomes exchange segments of genetic material. This produces chromosomes with new combinations of genetic information. And this is one of the reasons why siblings are not genetically identical. Your chromosomes contain combinations of genetic material that result from your parents' genetic contributions. So why is crossing over biologically important? Because it creates genetic variation. And this genetic variation is extremely important for populations because it provides differences upon which natural selection can act. So again, just a recap in prophase 1, two key events here. The chromosomes condense and the nucleolus breaks down. And as the chromosomes move around, crossing over happens. This means genetic material can be exchanged. Once na nagkaroon na ng crossing over, we can now proceed with metaphase 1. Meta, M, middle, line up. So after prophase 1, here in metaphase 1, homologous chromosome pairs line up in the middle of the cell. Notice the difference from mitosis. In mitosis, individual duplicated chromosomes line up. Pair of the individual chromosomes are in the middle. Pero in meiosis 1, in metaphase 1, homologous pairs line up together. So this arrangement is important because the homologous chromosomes will soon be separated. Mitosis, what lines up in the middle? The individual duplicated chromosome. How about in metaphase 1? The homologous chromosome in pairs. So therefore, kung sa metaphase or kay mitosis is 23 sister chromatids ang nasa gitna, kay metaphase 1 naman is 46 sister chromatids. Since nasa middle na, next natin is the separation. So, anaphase 1, the homologous chromosomes move toward the opposite poles. Notice something important ulit. The sister chromatids are still attached. Again, the sister chromatids are still attached. They do not separate yet. Only the homologous chromosomes are separated. So if you see a homologous chromosomes moving apart, you should immediately think that this is anaphase 1. So this ensures that each cell contains half the number of the chromosomes. So therefore, again, in mitosis, kapag mitosis, sister chromatid ang nagsiseparate sa anaphase. In anaphase 1, in meiosis, homologous chromosome muna ang nagsiseparate. This is one of the most common sources of confusion, so make sure that you understand the difference. So after homologous chromosomes reach the opposite poles, the cell enters again the telophase 1. And after telophase 1, cytokinesis follows. So the result is the two cells. But these cells are not equivalent to the ordinary diploid body cells. Why? They are now haploid because each cell contains only one chromosome from each homologous pair. However, you need to remember that the chromosome still consists of two sister chromatids. So the chromosome number has been reduced, but the chromatids have not yet separated. Again, chromosome number has been reduced, but chromatids have not yet separated. So after the telophase 1 and the cytokinesis, proceed tayo with meiosis 2. Meiosis 2, prophase 2 ulit. The two cells produced by meiosis 1 will undergo another division. The stages are, again, PMAT ulit siya, pero 2 na siya. So, prophase 2, metaphase 2, anaphase 2, and telophase 2. The second. Kung ano yung the first, ito yung the second. So let's notice that something interesting. The names look familiar. That's because the events of meiosis 2 are similar to mitosis. The major event is sister chromatids ang nagsiseparate na at hindi na ang homologous chromosomes. Phase 2 happens to allow for haploid cells, sex cells, sperm cell, and egg cell to be created. If nuclear envelopes reform after meiosis 1, they break down again as the cells prepare for the second division. The important thing to remember is that we are now dealing with haploid cells. Kalahati na lang. There are no additional rounds of DNA replication between meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. Very important na tandaan nyo yan. Since the DNA was already replicated before meiosis 1 began. So in meiosis 2, metaphase 2, chromosomes again line up individually at the middle of each cell, and this looks much more like the metaphase during the mitosis. Spindle fibers attach to the chromosome and prepare to pull the sister chromatids apart. And anaphase 2 tayo, the separation. This is where the sister chromatids finally separate. So the spindle fibers pull them toward the opposite poles. So in comparison with anaphase 1, again, homologous chromosomes separate, but in anaphase 2, sister chromatids separate. This distinction is extremely important. Okay, in telophase 2, the nuclear envelopes form around the set of chromosomes, and these chromosomes begin to decondense. Then cytokinesis occurs, and what is our final result? Kung mitosis is dalawa, ang meiosis is 4 haploid cells. These cells contain one set of chromosomes, and they are also genetically different because of the processes such as crossing over and the random distribution of the homologous chromosomes. So, bakit hindi genetically identical yung four cells? There are several sources of genetic variation associated with meiosis. One is crossing over. Another is the independent or random assortment of homologous chromosomes during one. And after meiosis, fertilization also combines the genetic material from two different gametes. So this explains why brothers and sisters can look different from one another. So therefore, you and your siblings have the same biological parents, but you do not receive exactly the same combination of the genetic information. A quick recap of mitosis: ang napoproduce dito is two diploid daughter cells. So it maintains the chromosome number 4646. It maintains the DNA content, diploid. Okay? Purpose of this is for growth, repair, and replacement of body cells. It starts with one diploid and ends with two diploid daughter cells. So it only happens again in somatic body cell. While meiosis naman, this contains four haploid cells. So this reduces the chromosome number from 46 to 23, and it reduces the DNA content from diploid to haploid. The purpose of this is for the production of the gametes for sexual reproduction. This starts with one diploid cell and ends with four haploid cells, and it only happens again in reproductive organs such as in the testes and the ovaries. So I have here the two terms: spermatocyte, meaning this is spermatocyte is an immature male reproductive cell that will develop into a sperm cell through meiosis. So we have a primary spermatocyte, which is diploid and undergoes meiosis to produce secondary spermatocyte, haploid, then develops into spermatids, which matures into sperm cells. And kung meron tayo for sperm, we also have the oocyte. Oocyte is again a mature female reproductive cell, and we have the primary oocyte, which is diploid and undergoes meiosis to eventually form one mature egg cell or the ovum and three polar bodies. Only one egg is typically released per menstrual cycle during ovulation, but in a sperm cell, it releases millions per ejaculation. So remember these three major differences in mitosis and meiosis. Pag mitosis, one division, two cells, genetically similar. Meiosis naman, two divisions, four haploid cells, and genetically varied or magkakaiba. Okay, this ends our discussion about cell division. I hope that you've learned something from this discussion. So the cell division, it's not simply about making more cells. It's actually about making sure that genetic information is properly copied, organized, and distributed. That concludes our discussion on cell division, and goodbye, students.